Stop begging for respect. Earn it like a king. A king does not plead for recognition. He commands it by the way he walks, speaks, and lives. If you find yourself asking for respect, you are already losing. Because true respect is never given to those who demand it, it is given to those who prove they are worthy of it. Look at the world around you. The people who are honored, the ones who stand tall, they didn't beg their way to respect, they built it. They shaped it with their discipline, their integrity, their strength. They did not waste their breath asking others to recognize their worth. They let their actions do the talking. A king is not respected because of his crown. He is respected because of his character. He carries himself with honor. He does not waver when faced with opposition. He does not crumble under pressure. He remains firm because he knows that respect is not about appearances. It is about who you truly are when no one is watching. Too many people waste their lives trying to convince others to see their value. They chase validation, hoping that if they say the right words, if they try hard enough, people will respect them. But respect is not something you ask for. It is something you earn through self-mastery, through discipline, through unwavering commitment to what is right. When a man walks with purpose, when he stands for something greater than himself, the world takes notice. He doesn't need to shout. He doesn't need to beg. His presence alone demands respect. Not because he seeks it, but because he has built himself into a man who deserves it. Strength is silent, power is controlled. A king does not need to remind others that he is a king. He simply is. He lives by a standard that others cannot ignore, and that is what separates those who are respected from those who are overlooked. So stop begging for respect. Stop pleading with the world to recognize your worth. Instead, build yourself. Strengthen your mind. Master your emotions. Walk with purpose. Speak with wisdom. And watch how the world responds to a man who no longer asks for respect, because he has become the kind of man who cannot be ignored. No one is born with respect. It is not handed out like a gift, nor is it something you can demand from others. Respect must be earned, built through consistent actions, unwavering character, and the strength to stand firm in who you are. If you find yourself constantly seeking validation, questioning why people do not acknowledge your worth, the answer is simple. Respect is not granted to those who ask for it. It is given to those who prove they deserve it. People respect strength, not just physical strength, but the strength of will, the strength of discipline, and the strength of integrity. They respect those who keep their word, who stand by their principles, even when it's inconvenient, who do not fold under pressure. Respect is drawn to those who lead, who take responsibility for their lives, and who refuse to be controlled by emotions or external circumstances. You cannot force someone to respect you, just as you cannot force someone to see your value, but you can control the way you carry yourself. You can become the kind of person whose presence alone demands recognition, not because you seek approval, but because you have built yourself into a man of substance. You don't need to announce your worth. Your actions will do it for you. A man who earns respect does not beg for it. He walks with confidence, not arrogance. He speaks with wisdom, not desperation. He acts with purpose, not hesitation. And because of that, people listen when he speaks, they watch when he moves, and they recognize that he is different. He is not ordinary. He is not weak. He is someone to be respected. If you want to be treated with honor, live in a way that makes honor undeniable. Show strength in discipline, consistency in action, and wisdom in your decisions. Over time, the world will take notice, not because you demanded it, but because you became the kind of person who cannot be ignored. The way you carry yourself speaks before you ever open your mouth. It tells the world who you are, what you stand for, and whether you are worthy of respect. A person who carries themselves with honor does not need to demand recognition. His presence alone commands it. Honor is not about how others see you. It is about how you see yourself when no one is watching. It is about the standards you live by, the discipline you maintain, and the way you handle yourself in both victory and defeat. Carrying yourself with honor means standing firm in your values even when the world tempts you to compromise. It means choosing integrity over convenience, truth over popularity, and strength over weakness. It is easy to take shortcuts, to follow the crowd, to lower your standards just to fit in. But honor is found in the man who refuses to be swayed by the noise of the world. He does what is right, not because people are watching, but because that is who he is. A man of honor does not allow himself to be ruled by emotion. He does not react in anger, nor does he crumble under pressure. He moves with control, speaks with wisdom, and acts with purpose. He understands that his reputation is built over time, shaped by the small choices he makes every day. And because he values his own self-respect, others have no choice but to respect him as well. When you carry yourself with honor, you don't need to chase respect, it follows you. People recognize the difference between someone who lives with purpose and someone who drifts through life. They see the discipline, the self-respect, the quiet strength. And in a world filled with empty words and broken promises, a man who holds himself to a higher standard will always stand out. Live in such a way that even if no one is watching, you would still walk with the same dignity, the same strength, the same unwavering sense of self. Because respect is temporary, but honor lasts forever. Power is not found in wealth, status, or loud words. It comes from purpose. A man without purpose is like a ship without a rudder, drifting aimlessly, pushed in every direction by the winds of life. But a man with purpose moves differently. He walks with certainty, speaks with conviction, and acts with authority. People respect him, not because of what he demands, but because of what he embodies. When you have purpose, you are no longer controlled by the opinions of others. You do not seek validation, nor do you waste time proving yourself to those who do not matter. Your energy is directed toward your mission, your calling, the reason you were placed on this earth. And when a man walks in his purpose, the world takes notice. His presence alone commands attention because people are drawn to those who know where they are going. True power does not come from domination, it comes from direction. A man with purpose does not need to control others because he has already mastered himself. He does not waste time in meaningless distractions, nor does he allow himself to be swayed by every obstacle in his path. He moves with intention, focused on the greater vision, driven by something beyond temporary success. And because of this, people respect him, trust him, and follow him. The weak are scattered, chasing every fleeting desire, never truly knowing who they are or what they stand for. But the powerful are grounded, unshaken, because their lives are built on a foundation of purpose. Their strength is not in their words, but in their actions, in the unwavering discipline that separates them from the rest. If you want power, find your purpose. If you want respect, commit to something greater than yourself. When you do, you will no longer need to seek recognition, because the man who walks with purpose shines too brightly to be ignored. There is a strength in silence that no amount of begging can ever match. A man who truly understands his worth does not waste his breath pleading for respect, recognition, or validation. He lets his actions do the talking. He lets his presence carry the weight of his character. The world does not respect those who beg. It respects those who stand firm in their dignity, unshaken by the need for approval. Weakness is loud. It constantly explains itself, constantly seeks reassurance, constantly demands attention. But real power is quiet. It does not announce itself. It does not chase after recognition. A lion does not need to remind the jungle that he is a lion. His presence alone is enough. And the same is true for a man who carries himself with strength and purpose. He does not need to ask for respect because his life commands it. Pleading for respect is a sign that you have not yet built yourself into someone who naturally commands it. The more you try to convince others of your worth, the more they doubt it. But when you walk in silence, when you let your discipline, your consistency, and your results speak for you, people have no choice but to acknowledge what you have become. Silence is not weakness, it is control. It is the ability to stay focused while others seek attention. It is the confidence to know that respect is not given to those who ask, but to those who prove they deserve it. It is the strength to endure, to rise, to dominate without ever having to announce your arrival. So stop explaining yourself. Stop chasing after the respect of those who do not see your value. Instead, become so undeniable that they have no choice but to recognize you. Because the most powerful men in history were never the ones who begged. They were the ones who moved in silence and let their greatness speak for itself. Authority is not claimed, it is earned through discipline. A man who lacks control over himself can never expect others to follow him. But a man who masters his habits, his emotions, and his actions naturally commands respect. Discipline is what separates the ordinary from the great, the weak from the strong, the forgotten from the legendary. It is the foundation of all authority because no one respects a man who cannot control himself. When you are disciplined, people see it in everything you do. They see it in the way you carry yourself, the way you speak, the way you handle challenges. They recognize that you are not easily swayed by distractions, temptations, or excuses. And because of that, they trust you. They listen to you. They look to you as someone who is in control, someone who leads not just with words, but with action. A man with no discipline is like a man building a house on sand. He may appear strong for a moment, but the first storm will expose his weakness. But a man who builds himself through discipline, who wakes up every day with purpose, who sharpens his mind, who strengthens his body, who controls his emotions, he becomes unshakable. His foundation is solid, and because he has mastered himself, others naturally follow his lead. People do not follow words, they follow examples. They follow the man who proves, day in and day out, that he is worthy of leadership, and that proof comes from discipline. From doing what is right, even when it is hard. From staying committed, even when no one is watching. From holding himself to a standard that most people are too weak to maintain. If you want authority, earn it. If you want respect, build it. Train your mind, strengthen your will. Become someone who is so disciplined that his very presence commands attention. Because in a world of weakness, a man of discipline is impossible to ignore. Words are cheap. Anyone can talk about strength, wisdom, and success, but only a few have the discipline to prove it through action. If you want respect, if you want to be taken seriously, stop trying to convince people with words. Show them who you are through the way you live. The world does not listen to empty promises, to excuses, or to loud voices that produce nothing. It listens to results. It follows those whose actions leave no room for doubt. A man who talks too much about what he will do often does very little. He wastes his energy seeking approval instead of building something real. But a man of action does not waste time explaining himself. He does not beg to be noticed. He simply does the work, and in doing so, he becomes undeniable. People respect what they see, not what they hear. They watch how you carry yourself. They notice whether you stay true to your word. They measure you by your consistency, by your ability to push forward when others quit. And when they see that you do not just talk about strength, but live it, that you do not just speak of discipline, but embody it, they have no choice but to acknowledge you. You do not need to announce your greatness. You do not need to remind people of your worth. If you are truly strong, if you are truly disciplined, if you are truly a man of honor, they will see it without you saying a word. The loudest men are often the weakest because they rely on noise to cover their lack of substance. The strongest men, the ones who are truly respected, are those whose actions do all the speaking for them. So be that man. Be the one who moves with quiet confidence, who lets results silence all doubts. Let your work prove your dedication. Let your discipline prove your strength. Let your success prove your resilience. And when you do, the world will have no choice but to listen, because nothing speaks louder than action. In the end, respect is not something you can demand. It is something you must earn through the life you live. It comes from the way you carry yourself, the way you hold your values high, and the discipline with which you live each day. You don't need to beg for respect, because the moment you build yourself with purpose, silence, and discipline, it will come to you without effort. The strength to earn respect is not in words, but in actions. actions that prove you are the man you claim to be. When you live with honor, when you walk in purpose, and when your actions speak louder than any plea, the world will not be able to deny the power, the authority, and the respect that you deserve. The time for begging is over. Rise up, take control of your life, and earn the respect that is rightfully yours, like a king.